Today, I am complete, mostly. I am a woman in my 50s who attends church and for the most part is accepted as a woman, similar to any other. I am physically and legally a female with all of my identification and documentation as it should be. It has been 10 years since I took those first few exciting and terrifying steps in my transition from male to female. Although there are always moments and we are always at risk, most of the dangerous times, both physically and emotionally, are behind me. But in this period of remembrance, the week of transgender remembrance, I am remembering those early days of my own transition. Since I would not be able to really remember and convey those experiences to you, I've decided to share a piece of my writing from those days. This was from 2009, the first year of my transition. What makes a woman? I wonder this a lot. Is it the anatomy, the clothes, the makeup? Does a man become a woman when all the parts are in place? 80%? 75%? When she is out full time, when she tells her parents, her children, the state? Could it be the gentleness of my spirit, the tenderness in my touch, or the caring of my heart? What exactly is it that makes everything else not satisfy? What is it that makes me say that being a kind, tender man is not enough or just not right? What is it about my being that screams, I am female? I have grown to be a man. I did not transition during puberty when perhaps I had not fully developed. I have grown and lived years as a man, and some friends point to how successfully I was as a man when they questioned to themselves or to me why I might want this. How can you, they ask, you who have been so successful, the man, want to be a woman? All I can say is that if I could have been this person one day, even 1 second earlier, I would have. If I could have been this person when I was in junior high school, when kids taunted me brutally and teachers ignored it, I would have. If I could have been this person when my mother died and I had all but nowhere to go, I would have. If I could have been this person when I was in the military and hid and cried when it became too much, I would have done it. The transgender suicide rate is 31%. Over 50% of trans people will have had at least one suicide attempt by their 20th birthday. Even more from self-harm or self-harm through cutting or self-mutilation. And many are hurt or killed by others. If I could have chosen to be pretty and sweet and kind and gentle then and still have been safe, I would have. If I could have chosen to stay at home and be as I was and am with a family who would have accepted me and had had someone to hug me and hold me and tell me they loved me no matter who I was, I would have run to this woman inside me back then. So I came to this woman late in life, but I did come to her, and I'm grateful for it. But others have struggled more and suffered more and continue to suffer and struggle. For them, I pray.
I want to begin with a land acknowledgement. I just want to name that we're gathered here today in Ramaytush Ohlone territory. The first people of this land are the Ramaytush Ohlone people who do not have federal recognition and don't have access to their ancestral land. And I name them not only because in addition to being Trans Awareness Month, this is also Native American Heritage Month, but I also name them because transphobia is new on this land. Early accounts from the Catholic missionaries who came here to San Francisco document men dressed in women's clothes, and there's significant evidence of same-sex relationships. amongst the pre-colonized Ohlone people. So I think it's important to acknowledge that transphobia has not been the only way that things have been done in this place, in this city, on this land. This land has known pain. It's known the pain of colonization and the ensuing slavery. It's known racism, transphobia, homophobia, and classism. Fast forward a number of years, in the early 1980s, there was a mysterious disease killing gay men here in San Francisco. And there were religious leaders who were refusing to meet with these men because they were gay. And it was during this time that there was an Episcopal priest who started organizing clergy from different traditions to go visit these men on the AIDS ward in San Francisco. And from that work developed Sojourn Chaplaincy and our AIDS ministry training. And during that time, Sojourn Chaplaincy educated hundreds of clergy who have then spread across the nation and even across the world. We were born in a time of pain and struggle. As the epidemic shifted here in this country and people started having access to medications and started living longer, our services, Sojourn Chaplaincy, like many services that had developed during the epidemic, kind of stopped and turned around and said, oh my gosh, there's a whole hospital here full of people who could use support. This isn't just the AIDS floor. These aren't the only people who we can be supporting here. And so we developed a community ministry training, a community chaplaincy training. And this program continues today at the city's only public hospital, the San Francisco General Hospital, providing care for some of the most marginalized members of our community here in San Francisco. In 2017, drawing on those roots of caring for the most marginalized in the faith community, we developed the Trans Spiritual Care Initiative. This program focused on improving spiritual care for trans and non-binary people as they access health care here in San Francisco. And more than that, we've been training spiritual care providers and chaplains throughout the country on how to provide gender-affirming spiritual care. I think this work is even more critical. It's been critical, but it's even more critical as the LGBT community faces attacks daily on our healthcare rights, our freedom, our liberty, our lives. The recent attack from the Trump administration implementing policy empowering healthcare providers to refuse to care for transgender, non-binary, lesbian and gay, bisexual, people who've used birth control, people who've had abortions. I mean, really the way the changes in the law are worded, it could be interpreted that the healthcare provider can refuse to care for anybody who has different values than them, undermining one of the key tenets in medicine of do no harm. And we're fighting this in the courts right now, and as we're fighting this in the courts, I think we know that a legal battle can't be the only way that this fight will be won. And so the Trans Spiritual Care Initiative is working to change the hearts and the minds of spiritual care providers so that they can provide allyship and advocacy as they encounter transphobia and homophobia, both in healthcare settings, not only in healthcare settings, but also as they encounter it in their faith community and in their lives. I want to acknowledge the work that Lisanicole has done in developing this curriculum. She's been a key leader. I also want to acknowledge and give thanks to Nancy Hardees, who's a member of this congregation who serves as a chaplain at the General with Sojourn Chaplaincy. And I want to also acknowledge and give thanks to Hillary Buffum, who's been a supporter of the Trans Spiritual Care Initiative. And I want to give thanks to this congregation for lifting up this pain, for creating space to acknowledge the loss, to make visible the struggles of transgender, gender nonconforming, and LGBT people in our lives. Blessed be.
Hi. I wanted to thank you all for welcoming me here today. And I have some notes on my phone. I'm not tweeting. I'm making sure that I remember some vague sense of what I was going to say to you all. So my name is Eli Wise, and I'm a transgender man. And about a year ago, my husband and I decided we wanted to have a child. And we decided we would do the very brave thing of have a child together and that I would carry the child. And so I had a year of the very unique experience, well, not unique, but very unusual experience of being a pregnant man in the world. And I was very lucky. I had a really supportive family and friends. I'm in the Bay Area. But it still was challenging to be aware of being such a small minority in the world. And also to be thinking about how I've never worried about my physical safety. I've never had to. I basically look like a white straight man. It's just not an issue for me. But I was very aware then of having this life inside of me, and I suddenly became very aware of my physical safety. And I wrote a song I'm going to play for you all shortly that has an analogy of walking along the shoulder of a highway. Because sometimes you have to go on a path that is not well-worn. And it's nicer if you have an easy path, but it's just not always an option. And I think it's important to keep in mind that in any time that you're part of the majority culture, you have blind spots. And that can end up unintentionally creating danger for other people. Then there are also the people who really enjoy their power, and they're the reckless drivers in this song. And those are the people who, instead of using faith as an opportunity for love and connection, use it as a way of hiding and even use it as a weapon. So the you in this song is not you wonderful people here today, but addressed more towards, I always put a little humor into things too. So there's a line about, I'm a pedestrian and you're in an SUV driving recklessly. No offense to SUV owners either, but it holds well, because I think sometimes people in power will be so afraid of the people not in power, and they don't realize that we're just trying to make a space for ourselves. So this is a song called Ghosts and Logic that I will now artfully trade my phone for a guitar for and play it for you all. I now have a wonderful, almost 3-month-old daughter at home, which is pretty great. I don't sleep as much. I've been walking this rocky highway, facing traffic, looking into your eyes. Well, I would like some shelter, but the only road is a shoulder. Got a folded map with coded writing and my old instincts out of hiding. Now I trust my pockets and my sense of smell. I'm not hiding just 'cause you put me in hell. It's not like that, and I don't have time for vain curiosity. So if you can't see me, then I have to make you hold your eyes open. You don't have to understand my whole story to know I'm not fiction. Well, thank God for friction that gets me on my way. I've transformed myself in this life from girl to man carrying life, and there's no discrepancy, there is no illusion, there is evolution, and there is pure beauty can't see me, then I have to make you hold your eyes open. You don't have to understand my whole story to know I'm not fiction. Well, thank God for friction that gets me on my way. Ghosts and logic, we each have our own. We hide and follow and pretend that we're in control, but I can't shield you from what you see. I have just my skin, and you're in an SUV, driving reckless, asking for protection from the god of shameless misdirection. Well, I'm not fearless, just an alert pedestrian with somewhere to go. So if you can't see me, then I have to make you hold your eyes open. You don't have to understand my whole story to know I'm not fiction. Well, thank God for friction that helps me on my